101.7 Port Harcourt. This is the morning drive. Today being the second day of July 2024. It's a Tuesday, and usually we run our program called the STARTITUP show every Tuesday from 9:30 a.m. And so I have with me in the studio a new guest, and let me just allow her introduce herself. What's her name?
Good morning. My name is Chiwendu Namene, though everyone calls me Wendy, and I'm a UX designer.
Okay, Chiwendu, you have to come closer to the mic, sir.
Okay.
Hallelujah. Okay, so Chiwendu, what's your name again? Sorry.
Wendy.
Wendy.
Yeah.
Okay, just like that, straight up.
Yeah, just like that.
Okay, so Chiwendu, what do you do?
I am a UX designer. I am responsible for designing applications and websites for,
Okay.
yeah, that's what I do.
So UI means what?
User interface.
Okay, for the person who doesn't know what you mean, break it down. What does it mean, broken down?
Okay, broken down. So
Yeah.
an interface is something that somebody uses, right?
Okay.
And so a user interface is obviously should I say a surface?
Like a touch screen of a phone.
Yeah, a touch screen of a phone is like the interface for your device. Is what
Okay.
lets you use your device. So user interface is a way for users to interact with a product.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what made you go into this career of UI UX design?
Initially it was boredom, right? Because it was during COVID. I was out of school. Everybody was out of school. Nothing was going on, and I needed something to do. I had a laptop, and I started exploring tech. And eventually, once my interest was piqued, I saw it as an alternative career because I was in my final year, and it was something that captured my interest, and I decided to go for it full time.
Okay. So you do UI, not UX.
I do both.
Okay, do both.
Yes.
What's the difference between the user interface and the UX?
Okay, so the UI, the user interface, is more concerned with what a product looks like. You understand how beautiful it is and all of that.
Colors and all that?
Colors, yeah, colors, shapes, and all of that. Why the UX is how it works, how it feels, and how it works, right? Yeah, so that is it.
Okay. So boredom made you go into it
Initially, yes.
initially,
Yeah.
and then the money made you stay.
Yes, interest and money. It was interesting, and then I thought of it. Then the money came in. I started thinking of it as a potential career.
Did you know how to draw before then? Were you the artistic type?
I would say yes and no. I had an interest in drawing, but I didn't really explore it. But I did notice that I was good at scientific drawings because my course in school was biology, and I was good at drawing. Scientific drawing. So yeah.
Okay. So what are the main skills needed to be successful in UI UX designing?
You have to be good at solving problems. You have to be able to look at a problem and think of a way to solve that problem. You have to also be curious, right? Because you have to want to know more. You have to want to know more. You have to want to know more, and wanting to know more will let you be able to think of a solution to a problem. You have to be persistent. So basically you have to be curious. You have to be good at problem solving. You have to have an analytical mind. You have to look at it. Might just be like a text, or it might just be somebody saying, oh, I need an app that can do this, and you have to be able to sit down and think about a way to create a solution for that problem. And you have to persevere. You have to be able to persevere to get to the root of the problem.
So you're saying every problem has a solution?
Yes, every problem has a solution.
Okay. So do you need to learn how to code to do UI UX?
No, you absolutely do not need to know how to code.
But is it something that if you know will help?
Yes, it will help a lot. If you know how to code, for example, if you know the basics of HTML and CSS, it will let you know how to structure your designs properly.
Okay. Do
Yes.
you know how to code?
I know the basics of HTML and CSS. Yes.
Beautiful.
Yes.
Okay. So how do you start a new project, and what are the first steps to take?
When a project is brought to me, it depends. Sometimes the project is the problem is just brought to you. Okay, maybe I need a website that does this. You have to write out the user story. User story is basically breaking down a problem in a way that you can relate to it and understand it. And then you have to carry out research. Okay, what field am I going to? Is it e-commerce? Is it fintech? You have to do that, so it will help you know the style of design you're going to. You do research into existing products, which will help you know how other people solved the problem you're going for. You have to after research, you have to ideate. You have to come up with ideas to solve the problem you have, which leads to sketching out. You have to usually do rough sketches of, if it's an application or a website. You have to ideate. You have to basically put your ideas down to better visualize it, and then from there you go on to actually designing it in the software and then to code.
Okay.
Yeah.
So do you work alone, or you have a team of UI UX designers? You guys bounce off ideas?
I work alone on some projects, but I rarely carry out a project from start to finish without bouncing it off someone.
Okay.
Sometimes projects come with a team. You're not the only designer on the project, and you have to collaborate on that. Sometimes you're the only designer on the project, but it's always nice to have someone that you can show your work to and give you feedback. Someone like senior in that field to let you know, okay, this is nice, or you could do it this way. To give you alternate views. Yeah, exactly, and also show you where you may be doing something wrong or not doing anything at all.
I understand what you mean by that.
Yeah.
Okay, if you're just joining us, this is the STARTITUP show. It comes to you every Tuesday, 9:30 to 10 a.m. The idea is we talk about businesses that are tech-based and how we can improve the economy of the state. With me in the studio, Miss Wendy, and she's a UI UX designer. So basically, she designs applications, websites, interfaces, make it easy for you to like it, the way it feels when you touch this blue box, it takes you here. All those things you see on your phone, on your website, that's basically practically what she does. So she has said it starts from when a task is given, she writes down the ideas, begins to draw, and a couple other things. She works alone, sometimes she works with people. Okay, so what tools do you use? What softwares do you use for this kind of work?
Okay, my primary software is Figma. Yes, Figma is a design software, collaborative software that lets me do up to 90% of everything I need to do in design. So most of the time, I can carry out a project from start to finish inside Figma, just Figma.
Do you buy Figma or is for free?
Okay, Figma has different plans. There's a free plan and there's a paid plan, but I'm currently on the paid plan because it gives me access to everything.
Okay.
Yes.
And you pay in dollars, right?
Yes. It's paid in dollars.
And okay, that's good to know. And so how do you gather and incorporate your user feedback into your designs?
Okay.
When you're done working, how do you usually have beta time to test, right?
Yes, there's always testing. Actually, yes. Okay, after testing, there's always feedback, right? And I incorporate that feedback into my design, either changing something, removing something, or adding something. There's also user research, right? You actually ask users. It could be before you start designing or after designing. You carry out interviews or surveys, so you have a good idea of what people want and how they want that problem fixed, what problems they have, and their ideas, possible ideas that they want, and then I incorporate that into the design.
Okay.
Yes.
So how do you get these people? You have a community of these people, or?
It's not I'm in design communities, but I'm in design communities, but depending on the project, I try not to get user research feedback from designers, because your product is going to be used by regular people. Designers will think like designers, and sometimes the way a designer thinks will be different from
the way they pick it.
Yeah, exactly. So the way they see a problem and the way they approach it to be solved will be quite different from someone who is just a regular user. It's just someone that just regular, a day-to-day person would look at that problem. So I usually, for example, I could conduct an online survey and ask people to distribute the surveys as far as possible. I want a varied number of respondents. I don't want
Okay.
just one sector to respond, because it wouldn't give me the broad response.
Perspective you want.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so now, what are the basic mistakes, starters? Because how many years have you been in this?
About 2 years.
Okay, so when you started, what were the mistakes you noticed that you made, and what advice do you have for those who are starting?
Okay, so one mistake I made, I wasn't practicing enough. You
What do you
have
mean?
to spend a lot of time.
With Figma?
Not just Figma, you have to spend a lot of time research. You have to spend a lot of time looking at problems and thinking of, solutions to problems, because it helps you develop your mind. There's this thing called the design thinking, and you have to actually develop it.
Do you have to be a geek, so to speak?
No, you do not have to be a geek.
Okay, so you have a social life.
Yeah, I do have a social life.
Actually, I have to think about that one first. But let me ask you this. The reason why I'm asking is because did you go for trainings, or you watched on YouTube and learned how to be a UI UX designer?
Mostly on YouTube. Most of it I learned on my own. But
Okay, you watched YouTube and then started learning on your own.
Yes, I watched YouTube. I read articles, and I
Wow.
learned on my own. Yeah,
Okay, so
most of it.
basically you're self-motivated then.
Yes, no, I won't say 100%, because at some point I did get an internship which helped me brush up the rough edges, basically smoothing me out. I got an internship that was really intense and helped me, build my foundations properly. Because when you learn on your own, there are a lot of things that you miss out. You don't know that you're supposed to know those things. So doing that internship really helped me to see what I should have learned and, basically brush me up. Yeah.
That's the importance of a community then.
Yes.
Like an incubator.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
Very, very clean. So can you describe a project you are particularly proud of and why?
Okay, yes. So I worked on a software, an accounting software. So it's basically a software to let businesses transact with each other.
Okay.
And it was the very first time I was working on something like that. It was a SaaS, software as a service software. It was a SaaS, and it was B2B, business to business. And I had never worked on anything that was not business to customer, right? That wasn't like a website or an app. It was a think of, say, I don't know what I would use as an example, but it was a software.
I understand what you mean.
Okay, it was a software for businesses, and I had to think of a way to solve the problem that we had, which was creating digital checks. So basically, businesses after transacting with each other, they needed a way to send out checks, receive checks online, and it would go seamlessly with the different banks in Nigeria and other businesses. So so that is a project I'm really proud of.
Like an e-check.
Yes, an e-check. The main feature of that software was an e-check that could work with different banks.
And it to be validated by the bank.
Yes, exactly. So that was the main feature of that.
Is it running now?
No, it's still building. There's still some hands up, but design-wise, it was commended very well by my superiors.
Okay.
And I'm really proud of that project.
Good to know. So how do you stay updated with the latest trends and best practices in your field?
Social media helps a lot, I would say.
Which handles do you follow? Because social media will be watching Chris Brown.
No.
We won't know what UI UX is talking about.
Okay, for a lot of the design handles I follow, that I get trends from on Twitter. There are a lot of
Twitter is for the more serious people.
There's a nice tech community on Twitter for both design and coding. I also look at inspiration websites. I look for latest designs, because these let you see how the the current mindset of designers at the time. What are the current trends in design? And on social media, you see what maybe senior designers are talking about. You see latest tech news there, so you basically see what is happening as it is happening, and that lets me stay on ground. Also, because of my internet activity, my Google is basically created. If I open Chrome now, most of what I get are tech news, and
Okay.
yeah, by reading, making sure I read it regularly, I stay updated with the current tech trends, and also my emails. I subscribe to several tech mailing lists, and it helps me stay updated.
Okay. So newsletters and all that.
Yeah.
So let me ask you this. Now we have AI
Yes.
gaining ground.
Yes.
Is AI going to disturb UI UX designers in the nearest future?
No, it will not.
Okay.
It will not, because AI is, at the end of the day, is not a human being. It doesn't have original ideas, and what it gives out is what it gets in.
Okay.
The data it gives out, the information it gives out, is based on what it has been fed in. And as long as you make sure that you stay sharp and you stay creative, AI cannot replace you as a designer. It may be able to come up with interfaces, basically
Design styles.
design styles, but it can only come up with what already exists.
Mm-hmm.
Right? It can only come up, and as long as you stay on your feet and don't get too comfortable where you are, AI will be hard place to replace you. There has been some attempts at making AIs that can replicate UI designs, but they always have a lot of issues. It may look nice at first, especially if you're not a designer. It looks nice, but then when you take some time and study it, you realize that it has issues. What AI, I find what it's good for is simplifying some processes for you as a designer, giving you time to
Okay.
work on other stuff, but completely replacing like a designer, no, I don't
Okay.
see you doing that in the nearest future.
Okay. So let's talk about money now. Is there any disparity? How are women doing in your field
Okay.
compared to the brothers?
There's, when it comes to design, I don't know, it's kind of balanced even. There's an even
Okay.
balance I notice in design, or even if, let's say, not so even, but there's not a lot of disparity as if
Okay.
you should look at other areas of tech, for example. So yeah,
Okay.
it's
So how much on an average would one who is in your field earn a month on a solo gym? Give us an estimate, because I know that when it comes to, even if you're a freelancer, you will have a rate from this to this. So if you're in a team, if you're freelancing, if you're a beginner, if you're intermediate, if you're a pro, what's the range?
like you said, there are people that are just starting out, and there are people that have been doing this for years, and they cannot give the same rates. Yes, but on average, and it also depends. Some people have full-time roles where they are paid on a monthly basis, irrespective of the projects that they finish in a month. And some people work contract-based. If you're a freelancer, for example, you might get a project. You might maybe work for a month and get a lot of money for that project, and you may not get any gig for like the next month or two. So depending on what you're doing, your pay varies, but there are some fixed rates for certain things. Some people have fixed rates for, okay, this is how much I'll charge you if I'm designing this kind of website, this is how much I'll charge if I'm designing this type of application. But of course, a lot of times the amount you charge, even if you have fixed rate, your rate depends on your years of expertise, how good you are. If somebody that has been designing for like a year definitely wouldn't be able to charge as much as someone that's been designing for 5 years, because they do not have the same level of expertise. So I cannot really give you a round figure that this is what you should expect as
Okay.
a year.
So you've been doing it for 2 years plus.
Yeah, just about, yeah.
So what do you charge? I have to come again with the question.
Okay, so I
Give us a range.
the range. Okay, I would say it varies from starting at around 100. Usually that's like the rate for a website, and from 100 upwards, depending on the project. What the project is? It a website? Is it an application? Is it an admin panel? Is it a mobile app, web app? Just basically, but base rate is usually around 100.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So basically, once you're done designing the UI, blah blah blah, some other guys come and write the code for the other things, pages. So you do everything.
No, I do not do everything.
Okay.
Yes, there are some designers that know both design and code, but I do not do everything. Once I'm done designing, I hand over to a developer. Depending. If it's a team that has a developer already, I hand over to the developer. If I was simply contracted for a client, I just hand over to the client. Once we're done with all the revisions and feedback has been applied, I hand over to the client.
Okay. So,
Yes.
for example, I want to build a website now. I have a name, I have a domain name, and all. I paid for all the blah blah blah.
Okay.
And I want to use one of these Blogspot or one of those WordPress arrangement. I don't want to build something. I come to you to design the interface for me, and then look for a way to host it on this platform, something like that. Is that? Did I explain? Did I describe anything close to what you do?
Yes.
Sort
yes.
of.
Yes, sort of.
Okay.
Okay, because you use WordPress as an example, and WordPress usually has templates, existing templates.
If I don't want to use their template.
Okay, but yes, you can get a designer to design something for you, and then you replicate it on WordPress. Yes.
Okay. Thank you very much, Wendy, for coming through and for sharing with us. Anything else you want to chip in? How can we find you on social media if anyone wants to run something by you?
Okay, I am on Twitter as @Kali_baby.
You need to spell it too.
Yeah, @Kali @CALI_BABY.
Okay.
Yes, that is my primary social media account.
Okay. So you're stuck there on x.com. That's where you are.
I'm on other places, but I see them as more private.
Private,
I don't
okay.
really share them. Yeah.
Kali_baby.
Yes.
CALI_BABY.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you very much.
Okay, we wish you the very best. So you heard it.